Hi, I'm Darren and welcome to New Factory Classics. Today we're going to discuss 2021's Dune Part 1. Welcome to Arrakis, a giant desert planet filled with giant sandworms, bandits, and spice miners. Now Timothée Chalamet plays a rich prince who will travel to Arrakis. He's very rich, he's very pale, the kind of person that you want to take to a giant desert planet. Now Zendaya plays Chani, a Freeman warrior with blue eyes. They get their blue eyes from inhaling all the spice, which is kind of like a drug to them, but it makes their eyes blue, and it's because they live on the planet and inhale it all the time. Now spice is used for intergalactic travel, making it extremely valuable to the Emperor, House Atreides, and many other entities. It could also be valuable to the worms, but their desires are not represented in this film. The Emperor tells House Atreides to take over Arrakis and bring peace so that spice mining can continue. And everyone is there at the event. The Space Pope, the Eggman, and even Calculator Man. Before they leave for Arrakis, Paul and his dad, the Duke, have a heart-to-heart on what it means to be a leader. And they, of course, they have this standing in their family graveyard / chicken village for everyone to see. The Harkonnen, on the other hand, used to manage Arrakis. They became incredibly wealthy over the 80 years that they managed it. There are warrior people that are all suffering from baldness. But don't make fun of that, or Will Smith will come and slap you. Paul visits the worst nail salon ever and plays the pain box hand game, a game where you put your hand in a box and they cause you as much pain as possible, but if you move or flinch, a witch will kill you. So you need to show how much focus you have. Paul inherited witch abilities from his mother, and normally they only allow the abilities to go to women, but if a male has it, they could possibly be the chosen one. So he needs to show all of his focus that he can have. So the fact that he passes the game means he may be the chosen one, or just may be a glutton for punishment, as Paul is a pale rich boy moving to an entire desert planet filled with bandits. Now the locals on Arrakis believe that Paul is the chosen one that's supposed to set them free. They have been enslaved for hundreds of years, and having somebody come to them to free them is what they've been hoping for. Anything to make their life better compared to the giant worms that are constantly attacking whenever they go outside. A secret is that the Emperor actually hates House Atreides. They've become too powerful, which is why he sent them to Arrakis. He's actually going to work together with the Harkonnen and reinforce their army so they can attack Arrakis, remove House Atreides, and take over. This is something that the House Harkonnen loves, and the leader, the Baron, flies into the sky with excitement. House Atreides attempts to make friends with the Fremen, the bandits that live on the planet. They want to make peace with these people. Peace seems to be their plan as compared to previous people, which were just trying to slaughter them all the time. The family gets a quick lesson on mining, and what ends up happening is they see the mining machine, and they end up seeing a giant worm come, and they have to end up freeing the miners. The worms are the size of a building, and they can come and they just eat anything that moves on the sand, something that they were really not all that aware of when they inherited the planet. When they return from the worm attack, Paul's personal doctor poisons and paralyzes the whole family. Paul and his mom get put into a helicopter to get abandoned in the desert because the Harkonnen promised not to actually kill them. And Paul's dad gets paralyzed and put in front of the Baron, who just invaded while the whole family was sleeping. Paul and his mother struggle to escape, and they end up crashing the helicopter, but they are once again abandoned in the desert. House Atreides' army puts up a grand fight, but they are just overwhelmed by both the Harkonnen army and the Emperor's army, so they end up losing. The entire event takes out House Atreides, and they even all think that Paul and his mother were killed in the crash. Using a poison tooth, Paul's dad attempts to kill the entire Baron's group while they're interrogating him. He hopes to take out the head of the Harkonnen while his family dies to wipe out both houses. Unfortunately for them, the rest of his court did die, but the Baron was able to fly into the ceiling because he has this weird flying ability in his pajamas. And so he actually survives. Paul's father dies, everyone else dies. It looks like House Atreides is dead. But what they don't know, once again, is that Paul and his mom are still abandoned in the desert. Now Duncan, Paul's personal trainer in the army, was working with the Freemen, and they end up saving Paul and his mom from the desert before a worm can get to them. They end up going to a science lab and try and come up with a new plan in order to survive and escape Arrakis. Now the plan that they come up with is pretty straightforward. Paul is the Messiah. He's basically space Jesus. He wants to lead the Freemen and leave the remnants of House Atreides to not only knock out the Harkonnen, but end up going after the Emperor and freeing all the planets that are under the Emperor's grasp. While coming up with that plan, though, they are attacked by the Emperor's men. Paul and his mom escape, but Duncan is killed during this fight. Paul and his mom escape via a helicopter, and like anyone else, when you're stuck in a helicopter with your mom, sometimes you just got to drive straight into a dust storm and just end it all. Paul and his mom do survive the dust storm crash, and they are finally met by the Freemen. Over 2 hours into a 2.5-hour movie does Paul finally meet Zendaya. He's been dreaming about her for years, but he finally meets his girlfriend about 15 minutes before the end of the film. As I said, Paul and his mom are escaping a worm that is chasing them before the Freemen end up saving them. But there's a weird moment between Paul and the worm where the worm is looking into Paul, and Paul's interacting back with the worm in a way that we haven't seen any of the Offworlders do. They have a back and forth between him and the worm, almost signifying something future that's going to happen for the Messiah or space Jesus. But all the Freemen are not wanting to just embrace them. There's a conversation on whether he's Jesus or whether they need to eat him and drink his water, which is a common conversation that I have whenever I have a visitor that comes to my house. Paul ends up having to prove his worth, and he fights one of the Freemen and kills them. And he finally meets his girlfriend, Zendaya, who all ladies like to know when you first meet them that you've been dreaming about them for years. It will not scare them off. After being embraced by the Freemen, Paul's mom wants to get them off-world, but he's decided, no, I need to embrace being the Messiah, and I'm going to lead the Freemen to victory. And that's the end of Dune Part 1. And now I've seen it, so you don't have to. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day.